Roy's got this. Roy's got this. Roy's got this. Roy's got this.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark Edward Blanton with The Real South Africa.
And I am Dr. Latasha Blanton, also with The Real South Africa.
We have an amazing group trip that you will be interested in. It's with the African Diaspora News Channel, a great YouTube channel, gives you great information about what's going on in Africa. But we have a group trip featuring Phil Scott, the host.
And the trip is going to take place on March 16th through the 25th. It's going to go to Johannesburg and Cape Town, and It's in 2022. If you're interested in traveling, please send an email to info@therealsouthafrica.com.
And we'll see you here in sunny South Africa.
Are you ready to lose weight and feel better than you've ever felt in your life? I, the Minister of Wellness, am offering an incredible 50% discount code on my Lose 100 Pounds in 100 Days book, which contains the exact meal plan that has helped thousands of our people achieve amazing results. Take advantage before this offer ends by visiting theministerofwellness.com and use the promo code NEWYOU22.
During this holiday season, give your loved ones a gift that keeps on giving for the rest of their life. Torpedo Pot is the only affordable self-growing flower pot that ensures your future food survival. All you do is add soil, seeds, and seedlings to the flower pot and watch your plants grow. Torpedo Pot can grow nutritious food in such abundance and variety that you can produce more food than your local farm. Visit www.torpedopot.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. It's 7:08 now. I think 7:08. Yeah, 7:08 a.m. Let me do my little check. Give me a second. All right, make sure I check myself. Appreciate everybody for coming over here to our African Diaspora News Insider channel. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. I mean, we have more than just African Diaspora News channel going. We got the News Insider channel. And it's your first time here, go through and look at all the videos that we have here. You know, just as much as we posted on the African Diaspora News channel, we simultaneously posted on the News Insider channel. So sometimes y'all have asked, hey, did y'all cover this? A lot of times it's covered right here on this channel and y'all didn't see it. So come on over, get established over here as well. Also, before we get started, number 2, any group trips that we have is open to all people in the diaspora that watch our channel. So that means you're from the UK, you are in Canada, you watching from the Caribbean, anywhere you live, right? Asia, it don't matter where you live. It is open to our subscribers that have a love for Africa, that want to see it, but want to do it in a group setting, because sometimes people may not want to do it by themselves because they don't know a whole lot. So you rather do a tour, with people that kind of know what they're doing. So I want to make sure we put that out there. Also, when it comes to advertising is a good thing to do on our platform because you'll be put in front of eyes all the time, right? So, we posting content just about every day. So you can potentially have your business on multiple platforms, not just YouTube, because when we post content to YouTube, Facebook, we post content there. We post content on binge networks, which that's spread out to over 100 different platforms that you guys probably don't even know and see. So with that said, we giving you a whole lot more than what we charge. I promise you that, because there are people on YouTube that will charge you for one time. They will charge you $3,000 to $5,000 for one time, not a whole month. We doing this because we say, okay, the people need to have their businesses showcased, but it also has to be, within, reason. We are definitely charging way less than what we should be charging, to be honest with you. But we're doing that just to try to get the people to come on in, because I know advertising, some of you spend money with Facebook. Facebook is not your targeted audience for the most part, right? And a lot of times Facebook have cheated with their ad system, so at least over here, it'll be put in front of the eyes of the people that you're probably trying to target. So people don't realize that if no one knows your business exists, it don't matter how great it is. It don't matter how great your restaurant is, your hair salon, your tax preparing services, whatever you have that you think is the best thing since sliced bread. If no one knows that you exist, you're not going to get nowhere. So even investing minimally in advertising is something that you should do. Even some of you who got campaigns, you want to target the Black community, you can come over here. You understand what I'm saying? So we want to open that up, and we have a email, ads at AfricanDiasporaNews.org. Go there, use that. Trust me, it will benefit you. Every person that has advertised with us, they have told us that they've gotten more sales, more visits, more calls because they have advertised here. We're giving them way more than what most YouTubers would give you. So make sure to take advantage of that. So with that being said, I'm gonna check the down here for a minute and we'll get started. All right. It's a East Coast Candy. Yeah, thank you for coming, over here, we're going to do the news, but when I'm on the entertainment channel, I'm definitely in that uncle mode. Oh, you better believe that. But thank you for coming. All right. So let's get it. So Jim Crow Joe, first story. Jim Crow Joe, he went to Atlanta on the 11th. He went to Clark Atlanta University. To be honest with you. Now, we know that Jim Crow Joe and the Democrats haven't done anything for black people at all. There's nothing nobody can say about that. They can give excuses all they want, but they ain't done nothing for black people. So on January 11th, he went and gave a speech on voting rights as a way to pressure is mounting from their black voter base to pass voting legislation. And he's not going to get that either, okay? But we'll talk about it because, see, let me tell you something. That's the people who's angry with him right now is not people like me and maybe some people like you that kind of maybe similar think like me on the Democrat Party, voting, etc., right? No, we're talking about that hardcore, just give me representation base of black people. Just give me vote. Just allow me to vote. Just allow me to participate in the process. You don't really have to give me a lot of tangibles. Just, voting rights. I mean, I want that. You would think the George Floyd bill was something that you'd be more upset about, but they just kind of like, but they really fighting about this voting rights situation. Because you have to understand, if they feel that they can't really vote in a certain way, they won't feel included. And they will feel rejected. And they feel that if Biden don't do this, that they're going to feel rejected. And so that's the group that's upset. I'll let you know. So, in quotes, they say, pass the Freedom to Vote Act, pass it now. They say it's also time to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. They say Biden said to applause from a crowd composed of mostly politicians, dignitaries, and students and staff from the Atlanta University Center. Because a lot of people was turning their back on him. So noticeable tension confronted Jim Crow Joe as frustration among his supporters grew apparent. They say Wanda Mosley, the National Field Director of Black Voters Matter, says she wants more than speeches. She says, and I quote, as a candidate, he said he was going to fight like hell for voting rights. So this was a good speech, but I've yet to see him fight like hell. They said the issue are two voting rights bills that are stalled in the Senate. But this goes back further to 2013 when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on Shelby versus Holder, where Shelby County, Alabama sued the Department of Justice. Now, the landmark case targets sections 4B and 5 within the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Section 5 prohibits voting districts, mostly in the South, that previously required voting tests as of November 1, 1964, and garnered less than 50% voter turnout for the 1964 presidential election. And say for those voting districts, they had to get federal approval from the Attorney General or a 3-judge panel from a Washington, D.C. District Court. Now, in 2013, the conservative-leaning Supreme Court ruled sections 4B and 5 of the Voting Rights Act were unconstitutional because those measures were no longer relevant in districts that had discriminatory voting practices during the 1960s. So they said the court also felt because barriers to voting were not as they were during the 1960s, states no longer needed federal approval to change voting laws at the state level. Because see, that particular case is what brought in the voter ID laws, right? And then Republicans now, they can just go wild with the districting in the South because the Voting Rights Act before, they had to get approval from the Department of Justice before they said that was approved, right? And we see the results of that, okay? I mean, I'm not saying the voting is an issue, but let's continue. So since the Supreme Court's ruling, the Brennan Center for Justice reports hundreds of restrictive voting laws making it harder to vote were introduced. And said last year, Georgia passed Senate Bill 2020, which placed restrictions on absentee and early voting, among other measures. Vice President Kamala Harris made note of such legislation in her speech. I have heard your outrage about the anti-voter law here and how many voters will likely be kept from voting. Kamala, black folks have been having voting rights and the federal government been protecting it for a while, and he still didn't do nothing with it. Now, continuing. It said, we know we face arrest for offering people snacks, and water waiting in line. It said, we know the subversion part of the bill is removing duly appointed members of Board of Election across the state for no other reason for not being white or Republican. That's what Mosley said of Georgia's restrictive voting laws. Continuing. They say the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act will essentially reverse the Supreme Court's decision on Shelby versus Holder and require states to get federal approval before passing restrictive voting laws. So basically, setting it back to what it was. And it said Freedom to Vote Act bills in adding protections to voters, including expanding absentee voting, allows people to register to vote on Election Day, and restores felons' right to vote once they completed their sentences, among other things, which I do agree with. If you do your time and you're not, on parole or something like that, I believe, well, number one, when you get out of prison, you should be able to vote. Now, your gun rights, if you didn't have a violent gun crime, then you should get your gun rights back too. I don't think somebody should be banned for life for their gun rights. They say critics of the Jim Crow Joe administration, like Moses said, they would like to hear a clear plan of action on voting rights. They say, I would like to see a concrete plan that said I would do this action on this day by this time frame. I would like to have heard an actual deadline by which this is going to happen. They've been doing this to black people, though. They just tell you things and don't give you no definites. It's another hurdle voting rights is across the Senate where Republicans and some Democrats unwilling to support the bills. They say a possible workaround will be eliminating the Senate filibuster, which is a procedural rule that requires debate on the bill to be cut off, or at least 60 senators agree to do so. But that means members of the opposing party must support ending the debate, which isn't going to happen in the Senate Republican conference headed by Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Now, they say getting rid of the filibuster would mean that a simple majority vote, and say all 50 Senate members plus Harris vote as a tiebreaker would be needed to pass the voting rights bills. But there's still the problem of a few Senate Democrats not supporting the filibuster elimination, which is Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, two Mzungus. Okay, let's make sure we have to point that out. Now, Martin Luther King will call them the white moderates that stand in the way of progress. Just letting you know that. When he wrote there from the Birmingham jail. Now, Spelman College Junior Melina Watson remains hopeful, she said, that voting rights legislation will be signed into law, but she too wants to see some action. Melina, Sister Melina, don't hold your breath too soon because you're probably going to pass away. She said that Joe Biden's black voter base expects him to be commanding, expects him to bear the same sentiments that we do regarding the necessity of voting rights legislation. Let me tell y'all something. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, and the majority of people who are, quote unquote, the moderates do not want you to have equality of anything. I don't understand what's wrong with y'all. I don't understand why y'all don't get it, okay? These people don't want you equal to them. They don't want you to have political power. They don't want you to have economic freedom. They don't want you to have justice. They don't want you to have anything. We're not talking about the Republicans. We're talking about that same party that y'all say you the backbone of, okay? That same party. That party has no excuse for why they can't do nothing for you. They easily did it for the Asians. They easily did it for the Afghanistan people that came into this country, and they just recently sent $300 million to Afghanistan just the other day. Okay? But they won't give black people $300 million. They won't say, look, let's put $300 million as a down payment on reparations. Because hell, we sent it to Afghanistan, so surely we can go ahead on and use that as a down payment for reparations. Say that they're not going to do that for you. They're going to do everything in their power to keep you in a subservient position. Y'all give me a second. Everybody always texting me. Okay. Anyway. So they want to keep you in a subservient position. They want to keep you begging, because as long as you're begging, you're powerless. I believe being in a position of power, and a position of power would say, okay, you're not giving us a George Floyd bill. You didn't want to do that. We have an anti-lynching bill. We have no hate crime bill for Black Americans, right? We have no reparations. We have nothing. So this is what we're gonna do. Since we the backbone of the party, we're gonna break the party. How are we gonna break the party? We're gonna just let you have it. We're gonna let you and tell you, go to the Afghanistan people, go to people south of the border, go to the Asian community, go to the white LGBT, go to the $5 Indians, go to everybody that you've been giving something to, and just tell them to vote for you. And that's it. And we'll just chill our nerves and just see how it works out for you. That's the way you move with power. You tell them what you're gonna do, and you do it. Oh, well, this is an election. Oh, democracy's on the ballot. No, not it is for me. Nothing's on the ballot for me. That's why I'm not participating. When you sit up there and put reparations, when you get the anti-lynching bill, hate crime, my George Floyd bill removing qualified immunity for these race soldiers, when you start doing all that, then now I'm interested. Now I'm saying, hey, what do we need to do here? Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? Well, you saw what happened January the 6th. Don't care what happened January 6th. Black folks wasn't involved in that. We were sitting at home like, look at these white folks. What the hell they doing? That's exactly what we were saying to black people. We wasn't involved in that. That has nothing to do with us. Sorry, I don't care. I don't care if them people get back in office. Don't care. Because you know, if you want to talk statistically speaking, black folks had lower unemployment then. Black folks actually was making some money. Just be real with you. At least when Trump was in office, he wasn't giving a bag to everybody else. And we were sitting there watching. The moment y'all got in office, you start giving the bags to everybody else but us. I like it the way Trump got it. Nobody get a bag. If I can't get one, nobody get one. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. These other groups, oh my God, the Republicans going to get in. I don't care. Let them get in. So, how's that going to hurt my community? Listen, the black community collectively is already at the bottom. How they going to hurt me more? How? When you're already there. Well, you know the Republicans ain't going to do nothing for us, brother. You know, the Democrats is our only hope. Yes, I had a black man say that to me on Instagram. Is the Democrats your only hope? Well, bro, you have no hope. You have no hope. There's brothers and sisters that I know personally that was hardcore Democrats. I'm telling you. They said, man, forget this, man. They said, look how these people treated us. They said, matter of fact, I'm pissed. They said, I'm not going to sit it out. I'm not sitting the election out. Nope. It said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat them the way they treat me. They don't care about me, so I'm going to go vote for the Republican. Because in that way to piss them off, because they're going to see that we voted a lot more for them, and they're not going to understand why. They're going to be pissed, losing all their seats, losing everything. And say, if I'm not getting nothing, then nobody getting nothing. How about that? Then they want to come out saying, well, you got this thought out there. What about me? What am I getting? That's wrong. No, that's right. Black people got to be on that. It's what you doing for me. If you're not doing nothing for me, hell no. I'm not going to sit up here and watch everybody get a bag. People not even from this country getting a bag. People not even citizens getting a bag. No, because if that's what you're going to do, the Republicans can stay in there all day for me. Stay in there. Because I know Republicans wouldn't have gave a bag to them Afghanistan people over here. Matter of fact, Trump wouldn't have let them over here. Y'all know that, and I know that. Man, I think one person talking about Trump gone. Well, Cassandra, He may be back because I was just reading he raised $115 million already. And they said they put him on a poll. And I think DeSantis was about the only one that could maybe run against him. And they said that he don't even register on the polls like that against Trump. So Trump probably will be back. And if he is back, I'm good with it. I am so good with it. I have no problem with that. None. The authoritarian Democrats is the reason why a lot of y'all lost y'all job as black people. Telling you if you don't make a medical decision, you lose your employment. It wasn't like that prior to them getting in office. Now, was it? You can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to a gym. You can't do whatever. Just to go freaking, you know what I'm saying? Why? Okay, a mask mandate, I can agree with that. But I don't agree with telling someone that they got to do something medically just to go somewhere. No. There's a lot of black folks that have lost their job right now due to them. Do you think they're not going to think about that in the midterms? We know good and well the Republicans are not going to play that. That's going to be over with and done with the first day. I'm not saying Trump gonna do anything. What I'm trying to say is that we have to break the Democrat Party in order to be respected. And I mean not one election cycle. It needs to be done over, I think, a 10-year period. If you show the Democrats that you mean business and you will literally make them lose constantly, and then when you say, okay, you ready to give us whatever we want now? Oh, what's up? Oh, you want to keep losing? You make your choice. I was like, these other groups that you're giving a bag to, I know the strategy because you're trying to get rid of black people as your base. So you hopefully like give a bag to these other groups so they can show up and vote for you. But these other groups aren't invested into America like that. That's the mistake they're making. These other groups come here to get something out of America. They're not invested into America. You understand? And when you hear the other groups say, I come here for a better life. I come here for a better life. Make me good. Make my family good back home. They're coming here to get a bag. They're not coming here to be invested into America's politics like that. Not as a group. Now, they will get invested if you're talking about giving them a bag. Then they'll come vote for you. And then after that, a lot of them, what they do is they get their bag and go vote Republican. And I know you're mad because you was hoping that you give these other groups a bag, laws and everything else, and they'll just support you. They're not going to do it. So you still stuck. I know, unfortunately, because you don't like it. You still stuck with black folks, unfortunately. And if black folks get like these other groups and say, no, I need my bag too, then you know you stuck because you depend on that white racist vote also to vote for y'all. So I want to see what's going to happen in the midterms. I think I know what's going to happen, but sometimes some black folks are so slave-minded that because think about it, if you just talking about total Democrat, it was mass are happy with you because you still stuck in the system. Well, you say if Clyburn needs to go, okay, well, what's the young brother name? Marcel Dixon, he's running. Well, why don't, if you live in South Carolina, you should be helping the brother and trying to get Clyburn out of there. I mean, don't leave a comment here. Just try to participate, right? All right. So let's go to the next story here. What I tell? Okay, we doing good on time. On our next story, this will be out of Georgia as well. So it's a Georgia sheriff's deputy. It's hold on. Make sure we do this right. It's in the middle of Georgia has been suspended without pay pending termination after allegedly calling, Amaud Arbery a criminal on social media. In addition to labeling the slain brother as a criminal, he's accused of writing he still got the death penalty. That's a Houston County Deputy Paul Zerhan commenting on the Macon outlet's Facebook post about the recent sentencing of the Arbery's killers Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael, and William Bryan. It said deputy replied that criminal Arbery still got the death penalty though. These are your race soldiers that's out there with black people. And that's why I told you, all of them are race soldiers till they prove otherwise. Now, on Friday, January 7th, it said 3 men were handed down life sentences for their roles in the 25-year-old death. It said McMichaels both received life sentences with no possibility of parole plus additional 20 years. It said Brian, McMichaels' neighbor, was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 30 years. But that's a life sentence to him, too, at his age. It said Judge Timothy Walmsley stated at sentencing, Amaud Arbery was then hunted down and shot. He was killed because individuals here in his courtroom took the law into their own hands despite deleting the comments. Screenshots have been shared across social media. Landing the Houston County Sheriff's Office over the weekend. The Sheriff's Office launched an investigation on the morning of Monday, January 10th, decided to suspend Erhan, they said, without pay and pending termination. Now, Sheriff Cullen Talton, they wrote a letter detailing how the deputy violated several of the department's procedures and policies, all relating to a code of conduct. Now, page 5, 4A, say an officer must at all times on and off duty conduct him or herself in a manner which does not bring discredit to the department or the county. And page 5, 4B, conduct unbecoming of an officer shall include the conduct, they say, which has a tendency to destroy public respect for the employees and confidence in the department. They say the blowback from the comment did not stop it within the department. Activist Eli Porter, a member of the Poor and Minority Justice Association, said that that deputy represents that entire department, and for him to say that, say I'm just, he said, just got underneath my skin. I said Porter believed that the sheriff's immediate response communicated a powerful message to the community, showing everyone that the sheriff's office do not stand with what Paul said. Okay, now it's a few people have expressed solidarity with the disgraced race soldier. Of course, they expressed solidarity. I mean, why not? I mean, he didn't do nothing wrong. He was just being a white supremacist. I mean, come on, that's American as apple pie. They said one person wrote exactly the type of person we do not need to be a peace officer, not only in our beautiful city, but anywhere. He deserved exactly what he got. They say he deserves to lose his job. They said Lawyer Hardeman posted in the comment section when the racists show his true colors. They said they need to learn just how ignorant they act, and it reflects on how he or she was brought up and how ignorant their family is also. But some believe that he has his freedom of speech violated. Of course, you know, listen, I'm tell you what, you want to see mass incarceration happen to them folks? Just make racism illegal. Just make saying the N-word illegal or any kind of thing like that. Watch. They won't be able to stay out of prison. Now they said, this is what they say, the man has a right to his opinion. Why should some people be denied their right to express themselves because they work in certain areas? When you have a bias against black people, that's life or death for them. So you want to go work at McDonald's and you want to write that, fine, go write it. That's no problem. But you can't be a sheriff's deputy and writing that, because your racial hatred for black people is going to carry into your job. That's why, Mr. Ignoramus. Now, this Lawana Henrik asked to say, I do not know what he said, but what happened to freedom of speech? Nothing happened to freedom of speech, but he needs to be terminated. They say Erhan has the opportunity to appeal the decision over the next 10 days. If he does not, his termination will be effective on January 20th. Now, these people really believe that it's okay for him to talk a lot about black people in that manner and still keep that job. I told y'all, these people have an extremely, extremely sick mentality. I mean, it is the culture. It is the culture. I keep telling you that. White supremacy is their culture. You can't reform culture. You can't reform that. They will always be that way. The ones who aren't that way, to be honest with you, I mean, would be the right people to talk to, right? But they are pariahs in their own culture. Because it's okay to be that way. Seriously. And this is why I said that you will never have peace in America as long as they're in control of it. As long as they in power, you will never have peace. You will never have tranquility. You will never have that in this country. Because they don't know no other way to be. Just keeping it real with you. So this is why race soldiers are very dangerous to black people, in particular black men. Let me check something real quick. Give me a second. Okay, let me check out this super chat. John C. Winston, he said here he's deciding to stay home in November. And Nasi Lamak, I don't know what currency that is, but thank you. You say you support our channel. Appreciate it. Nicholas Purcell, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, yes. See, this is my thing. You say Phil, certain jobs do not have freedom of speech, the military and the police. Yeah. No, you can't have freedom of speech. Forget that. You want freedom of speech? Create your own business. There you go. All right, and to the last story that we need to talk about here. This story here. Now we're going all the way to Ethiopia with this story, but we're going to talk about these folks. So Britain, they refused to return Ethiopia's sacred tablets. Now the British stole the plaques after defeating Emperor Tawadros II at the Battle of Makwadala in 1868, and they are now locked away in a vault in the British Museum. Now you remember the movie Black Panther? And remember when Killmonger was in the UK and he knew the history about the vibranium and he told them how like they stole it? He said, nah, I'm gonna take all this off your hand. Oh, so you can't take this. This is our property. He's like, no, it ain't. You stole it. You know what I'm saying? Like I told people this. They took all the history from all these black nations and they put it in their museums and making millions of dollars or millions of pounds a year for people to go see African history. If they remove everybody else's history that they stole in their time of colonization, because the Europeans, well, the British, they colonized a lot of places. No, I don't know nobody saying, oh, I want to go to Britain and see British history. Oh, wow, I can't wait to see that. I don't know nobody says that. But people say, hey, I want to go see some African history. Hey, maybe go see what the Asians did. Hey, let's go see what the Native Americans did. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about them. They're not relevant like that. They need everybody else's culture and everybody's history for relevance. Okay, so check this out. So they got it locked away in a vault in a British museum. Now Ethiopia say, hey, okay, we need our stuff back, man. You say, but the museum, they say, is willing to let. Just check this out. The museum is willing to let, listen to the key word, let Ethiopia borrow them for an extended time.
I'm so sick of these people.
Oh, man. You steal their stuff. You know you stole their stuff. Then you got the nerve to tell them, well, I'll let you borrow it for a little. Boy, these people are devils, man. That's like somebody stealing let's say something valuable. That's like somebody stealing your Bentley from you. You find out they got your Bentley. You say, hey, man, I need my Bentley back. Well, I'll let you borrow your Bentley, maybe for about 2 weeks, but you got to bring the Bentley back. It's mine. What are you talking about? Look, that's the deal I'm giving you. You want to take it or you want to leave it? You're lucky I'm willing to let you borrow your stuff. I mean, you're lucky. Man, you trying to not take my offer? I'm being nice to you. Like I said, if y'all don't really think about what these people do and say, I'm telling y'all. Now they say the museum trustees said that law prohibits them from returning the items, but supporters argue there's a loophole that will allow them to do so. Your law ain't worth a drop of piss because you stole it. How you gonna steal somebody's stuff and talk about, well, a law say I can't return things that I stole. Now they say, a quote says here, we believe that today the British Museum has a unique opportunity to build a lasting and meaningful bridge of friendship between Britain and Ethiopia by handing the tablets back to Ethiopian Orthodox Church. It said a group of supporters wrote in a letter to museum trustees that 11 tablets or altar tablets are of huge spiritual significance. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church believes the tablets are the dwelling place of God on earth or the Ark of the Covenant. Priests use the tablets to sanctify and consecrate church buildings. By tradition, they are supposed to be kept in private place, away from public view. Only priests are allowed to see them. Yes, not put in a museum for everybody to be around. Now, say 8 of the tablets, it said, at the British Museum were acquired during the Battle of Makadala. It said British soldiers reportedly took the tablets, jewelry, and other precious items after Tawadros committed suicide instead of surrendering to British soldiers. More than 500 soldiers were killed in the battle. Some of the other items were returned to Ethiopia last month, but they are still negotiating the return of the tablets. Whoo, man. And y'all, don't even get me started with all the gold they stole from Ghana. Those people, you can look it up. The UK has a big, huge gold reserve. And all that gold they have, their British pound is backed up by all that gold they stole, okay? That's why the pound is always stronger than the US dollar. All that belongs to Ghana. Ghana used to be called the Gold Coast before it became Ghana. Even the big diamond that's in the little headpiece that the Queen wear, they got that from South Africa. Like, these people have been freaking thieves and leeches and parasites to black people ever since they came around. Now, I say supporters argue that since the tablets cannot and have not been exhibited, they should be returned to Ethiopia. Images of the tablets are not even made available on the museum's websites. They say the museum argued that the British Museum Act of 1963 blocks them from permanently returning the items. Supporters, however, said the law allows the disposal of objects unfit to be retained as long as they can be disposed, they say, without detriment of the interests of students. And the tablets, they say, have no apparent use or relevance to the museum. Now, I say, however, the museum is still reluctant to release the items. They said these documents need to be reviewed and addressed with full consideration, and more time is required before this can be looked at by trustees. This is according to the British Museum, said in a recent statement to The Guardian. I mean, they're literally fighting to hold on to stolen things. They say Ethiopia announced the retrieval of a ceremonial crown, an imperial shield, and a set of silver embossed horn drinking cups and handwritten prayer book, crosses, and a necklace from the 1868 battle last week. Some of the European countries have also returned items to countries they have looted. As in Germany has returned the stone cross back to Namibia as restitution for the genocide of the Herero and Nama peoples in the early 1900s. And German officials have also issued guidelines to public museums on the return of other colonial era objects. The French President Emmanuel Macron recently approved a plan to return some museum objects to France's former colonies in Africa. So everywhere these people have went, they have stolen from African countries. They have looted gold. They have stole people. They have stole artifacts. And some of those artifacts are right here in America too. You understand? But the British is the one that did more theft, thievery, etc., because they were colonizing everywhere they go. And I believe African countries need to take a stronger stand. Matter of fact, if I was the prime minister of Ethiopia, I'd be like this: look, you got 30 days to give me back my stuff. And you don't have to, but you know what we about to do? Because since I knew it worked with the Nigerian president did this, okay, President Buhari, you banned from coming in our country because you're thieves. And you can come back when you give us our stuff back. You're banned. No flights to my country, and we not flying to yours. Completely. You're done until you give us our stuff back. When African countries start taking that stance, every president that took that stance with them, they quickly like, oh, okay, like that. When the president of Ghana told the UK that, okay, well, if you're going to do this to us, you're not coming in our country either. Wasn't even a day or two. Not even, you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, we want to reverse course. That's why I tell you, your African leaders and even the people, push your leaders to start doing that to these European countries. Tell them you're not coming here no more. If you're going to steal from us and not give us back our stuff, this is our history. This is ours, not yours. We're not trying to steal things from you. We're saying give us our stuff back that you stole. Why do you want Ethiopian history in your museums for? You should be displaying British history, European history, not somebody else's. Let them go to Ethiopia. And listen, I've been to the National Museum of Ethiopia, and thank God I got to go. I got to see so much history there, so much history by going. I also got to see the oldest person in the world, their father, 4 million years old, that was found right there in Ethiopia. We are the oldest people on the freaking planet. We are. And the cradle of life started in the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia. Matter of fact, that whole continent used to be called Ethiopia. And they didn't used to call you Africans. They used to say, oh, Ethiopians. Anybody black, they'll call you Ethiopian. Or prior to Ethiopia, Abyssinia. That's why you got to know your history. Because if you know your history, I'm talking about the history of our people that go back thousands upon thousands of years. I'm just not stuck on one aspect of our history, which would be considered recent history. The transatlantic slave trade is considered recent history. Even though it's been hundreds of years, it's still recent compared to the thousands upon thousands of years of how we were, on the African continent. The life started in the Horn of Africa. They just recently came out with a study with some skulls that showed that all life started in Ethiopia. Recently, these are white people saying that the original people are black, started in the Horn of Africa and just start traveling from there to all these different places all over the world. That's why I just think it's so silly when, just me, my thoughts, you want everything identity to be one thing when we transcend that. Our kingdoms, the things that, like, all the history, the things that we've done, like and continue to do, and things going to be better. I'd rather be, I'm talking about your ancestors. Your ancestors go a lot deeper than the slave plantations of America. That's one part of our history. That's not our whole history. But see, some of you have believed what the white man told you about yourself. How is it the white man was going to Africa to learn? Because they didn't have the best schools in Europe. Those was in the African continent. They were going to places like Timbuktu to go learn. And we were so poor and destitute, swinging from trees. How Mansa Musa had all that paper and that bread? How? Recently, even that story they told about, Egypt and all of that, which was a freaking lie. Their own scientists said those Europeans wasn't even nowhere near that when all that was going on. So the Hebrew Israelites are telling you at least about that. They write about that. But some of you don't want to research your history. And I say your history because it is your history. If you look like me, you African, yes, we African, whatever you want to say. We are the oldest people on the planet Earth. Everybody come through us, even our greatest enemy, the white man. Come through us. Now, there was a story, and I kind of believe it too. I kind of believe it because it makes sense. Why they so much against us? Like, why us more than anybody else? Give me a second. Okay. And it's still to this day in the African continent. If a child is born albino, a lot of times in African history, they felt that child was a devil. Or that child was some form of witchcraft or something like that. And then they would take that child out, or some of them would feel pity for them and send them off. Well, the story goes that the origin of them is they come from the albinos of our group, and then with time they evolved to what they are today. But they are a rejected group of people. And notice they hate us, but they can't stay away from us. Have you noticed that? Like to say you hate us, but yet you still come where we at. You'll still go to Africa. You'll go to the Caribbean. They can't stay away, but they don't like, it's like that. It's a bad love-hate thing. It's pretty bad. And I said, yeah, that makes more sense. Like some of them don't even know why they hate us so much. But when I was kind of told that story, I said that story actually makes a little bit more sense. That they know they was rejected and they wasn't wanted, and now they got in power. They wanted to take it out on their people that rejected them at the time. Well, they're not part of us, but still, that makes more sense to me. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. But with that being said, our history go back millions upon millions upon millions of years. And I know about that because the moment I got to Ethiopia myself, I felt that spiritual connection with the land. I mean, it's crazy. It's a spiritual connection on that continent that you won't feel nowhere else. And I've been to other places, but only in the African continent I feel it. I feel that connection like I'm there, I belong here, I got to figure out the way to be here, that sort of thing, right? I'm actually home. I mean, like I say, anybody that been know what I'm talking about. People that haven't been, they're usually not going to, you can tell real quick by the way they talk, right? And if you're a person that love the white man and all of that, and you just feel that you want to be underneath him all your life, then don't attack Africa. Don't do that. Because if you're anti-Africa, you're on the wrong page. Because any anti-Africa speak here, I'm going to block you. I'll be honest with you. We don't do that here. We do not do that here. But for me, the more and more I'm even learning about African history, right? The different tribes, even the tribes that I come from on my mom's side, the Balanta tribe, right? Out of Guinea-Bissau, how they fought. They didn't just sit up there and just take it. Even to this day, the Balanta people, which I was researching, they still have their customs. They didn't lose it. Even with colonization of the Portuguese, they didn't lose it. They still have their language. They still have their customs. They still have it all. Because they said they wasn't going to just, no, you wasn't about to come in there with no Islam to them. You wasn't coming there with Christianity to them. You wasn't coming to anything. Nope, that wasn't happening. He said, we believe what we believe here. So I would encourage you to start doing more research into African history. Find out how the continent was prior to them folks showing up. Do you know it was no such thing as owning property on the African continent? Because land was a resource. You know, that concept of owning land comes from the white man. The land was for everybody. So at times, okay, well, if the food is over here, we need to get up as a group and go over here, right? This is our little area we're going to be in until we need to leave. Water was a resource. It wasn't this, I own the water, I own this, I own that, you know, like this, all this owning. When a white man showed up on the continent, he talking about, oh, this is my land, start erecting fencing, start erecting this, erecting that. They never seen that before, even here on this land. The same thing, same concept. The Native Americans did not do that mess about, oh, this is my land, this is your, no. The land's for everybody. So those borders that's on the African continent right now, that's why they have people talking about we need a borderless Africa. Why? That's going back to what they were prior to the colonization. I mean, there's a lot of things they got on the continent that's right, that I love and that we need to get back to. Because this process from that Mzungu man got our whole situation screwed up. And the problem is with that, some of us go over there and we literally whiten the mind. And you won't realize it till you really like catch yourself. You are, a lot of you act like the white man. You know, the arrogance, the thinking you better than everybody. Everybody need to fall at your feet. That comes from the white man. That don't come from our people. So that arrogance, you need to put that away. Because that doesn't even come from our people in America either. Let me say that. Our ancestors were not arrogant people. They didn't think they were better than anybody. They were always loving people. And I even said black people in the South still retain the closest culture to African culture. I will say that. Black people in the South. I've been into all different parts of America, and I can tell you the Southern black people is the ones that's still closest to the African culture in the way we approach people. You know, how the speaking and the friendliness and, you know, you go to New York and you speak to somebody, speaking of me for? I'm like, why y'all so angry for? Like, what is wrong with y'all? You know, and man, look, I love my brothers and sisters in New York. Shout out to New York, but man, all that anger. Calm down. Smile a little bit. Speak to people. You know, enjoy yourself. Everybody ain't against you. Shoot. Oh, man. Oh, let's see. Yeah, water's a natural resource. Nobody supposed to own anything like that. Nobody supposed to own that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, because I got to wrap this up because I want everybody to go to the Philip Scott Audio Experience channel. Here in another 2 minutes, we have our podcast for the day. We're talking about Marilyn Mosby and how they indicted the sister. And that didn't make no sense, but I want y'all to go check that out. That'd be very, very important for y'all to look at. Make sure you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe. And make sure to check out all the videos. Support the brothers and sisters that's over here. And over here is mostly me, Demetria, and Juan Gail here for now. You know, anybody new we bring in on a permanent basis, which we're trying to find who we want to bring in, they'll be, added to this channel as well. So make sure, check out all the videos here that we have. I'm here, everybody's here. But anyway, thank you for listening. Love y'all. And